Hey, sports card collectors and investors. I hope that everybody is having a great day today. How's everybody's week going? I feel like we're kind of just getting through. We're at hump day. We're at Wednesday. We've got the weekend just a few days away. Hope everyone is surviving the summer heat. For one, and it hasn't really been a long summer for us here. It hasn't felt like in North Carolina, but I feel like I'm already ready for fall. So here we are. But I contemplated whether or not I was going to make this video. I was on the Tea with Gary V show this morning. It was a very impromptu thing. I contemplated not making this video because I've already shared in 20 different places that I was on the show. I've shared pictures of it and everything else, but I wanted to also document it because I wanted to make a video just to kind of talk about some of the stuff, how it kind of went about, but then also some of my feedback or kind of things that I took away from it. And let me start first by just kind of backing up a little bit. With Gary V, I know that a lot of people have gotten into cards because of Gary V. For me, I actually knew about Gary V before I knew that he was actually even into sports cards, and I collected sports cards starting back in the 80s before I even knew who Gary V was, obviously. So I wasn't brought to sports cards by Gary V, but I was really drawn to the guy because he is a really good combination of a straight shooter, so he doesn't really dance around it. He gives you fairly straight advice, empathetic advice, but he'll also just straight out tell you, if you've got certain business plans or certain ideas that might not be realistic in his mind, or maybe there could be another direction to take. He is not shy to tell you that. At the same time, he's also very motivational. I think that he's somebody that is very happy and proud to be an American, very happy and proud to be in this country. He is originally from, I believe it's the former Soviet Union, and it was difficult times. He's from an immigrant family that came over looking for a better life, and he's obviously made it. And so he's just an inspiring guy, to listen to. Granted, I don't, maybe you don't like some of his mannerisms or, whatever, but the guy preaches a ton of really good positivity, and when I'm having kind of a bad day, I'll go straight to YouTube, my subscriptions, and I go to Gary V and listen to some of what he's got to say, and it gets me back on track. So maybe he's the Tony Robbins of our time. I don't really know. It depends if you like his style of communication or not. I like the way that he communicates things. As far as sports card goes, his relationship to the sports card industry is separate to me from that motivational guy that he is. But for me, I'm a huge Gary V fan in general, but I'm also I can separate the two, and I also think that he's very good for sports cards, and I don't think that he should be punished for getting into sports cards because it's something from his childhood that's a nostalgic thing, just like it is for me. And I think that he is aware of kind of his impact, and he's fairly careful about it, and he wants nothing but good things for the hobby, and I really do trust that as far as just kind of his involvement. But I was able to get on the show this morning. Let's get to it. So essentially what happened is I was following him on Twitter. It was the Tea with Gary V. He normally sends out a tweet like an hour beforehand just saying like, hey, tea time's in 40 minutes or 50 minutes. And sometimes I'll just, reply to it and say like, hey, we're talking about sports cards today, just to throw it out there because I'm hoping that he will talk about sports cards because I like the conversation, like hearing about his perspective. And sometimes he's got guests also that are collectors, investors that'll talk about it. So, and I just want to hear about it. I want to hear about it talked about by anybody. So I did my normal thing and responded back with, hey, are you guys going to talk about sports cards? And by the way, I'd love to get on the show sometime. And I jumped in the shower. When I got out of the shower, I checked my phone, and there was literally like 10 or 15 pings, which I don't have a huge following on Twitter. I might have 700 followers or something. I don't have a small following, but I don't have a 10,000 person following or anything crazy. So for me to have 15 tweets or 15 notifications, that's a lot for me. So I looked at it, and I noticed that he had tweeted, and then his team had responded. Essentially, he had tweeted like, hey, let's get you on. And then he pinged with one of his guys that helps get people on, saying like, hey, let Dustin be guest number 3. So I was all, and this was all happening at about 8:30. And if you watch this, the show starts at 9, and the guys that run the show, Dustin, not Justin, and some of his other guys were saying, hey, we need you on at 8:50 just to get prepped up. And so I literally had 20 minutes to kind of think about, okay, what am I going to ask? What am I going to ask this guy? That maybe other people haven't, and try to think of something thoughtful, outside of, just, which players do you like, or which teams do you think can win the championship, or just regular sports talk. I was trying to think of something profound. I picked a couple of just kind of, hobby questions that I thought were, fairly, common questions in the hobby, but ones that would be kind of cool to get his perspective on. One of them was, what types of innovation would you like to see in the hobby to advance it? And then the other one was, do you see institutional money coming in, investing in sports cards, which he has touched on, I believe, in a podcast that I had watched. So it was something that he had touched on. I just wanted to see if he would kind of expound on that a little bit. And he talked right about it. He was very optimistic that about the hobby in general, but also just that, Wall Street money and, financial markets could get involved. Now, there's a lot of different things that they could do too with, sports cards, maybe compared to coins or stamps or comics or, some of these other type collectibles investments. So we'll see what happens there. But going back to Gary V. So he did have some good insights. I got 12 minutes with him. He is a guy that, frankly, I look up to just as a person. I feel like he's just a decent overall guy. Not even just the huge success he's had from a business standpoint, but I really do think he is a genuine people person. I do believe he enjoys helping people. Of course, we all have egos, and we're all feeding into egos and that part. And let's face it, the guy is highly successful. He's allowed to probably be a jerk sometimes. I mean, that's that kind of comes with the territory. You should have some form of ego if you've built a $200-300 million company. So overall, I just think that he's a good overall guy for the world, let alone for sports cards. And so, just aside from sports cards, if you're just looking for a pick-me-up, something motivational, something that just kind of build that drive. Maybe you're having a bad day, maybe you're having a bad week, month. I mean, heck, it's with what's going on in the world. Some people are having a bad year, period. So, if you do need maybe some inspiration, if you do need some sort of a pick-me-up, he is a guy that may or may not be able to do that for you, but for me, that was an important piece of it. So I was excited to get on his show. I didn't think I ever would, honestly. There's a lot of really good card people, and he did mention at the end, I don't know if anyone does see it, and I'll put a link below in the description to the actual Tea with Gary V episode, but he did mention getting card people on another show, and then hopefully bring together a handful or something, have kind of a forum. That would be a lot of fun. So guys, thank you for sticking with me through this video. This is kind of my reaction. Honestly, it's more of like, I'm kind of shocked that this happened, and I'm excited about it, and I wanted to talk to my viewership about it, just kind of share how all that happened, and just go from there. But let me know what you think, what you did think of it, if you were able to catch it. If there was other questions that maybe you want answered, I'm hoping to kind of build on it as a relationship with Gary. I'm not going to pretend like we're best friends or anything, but ideally I'd love to kind of build on it along with a lot of other hobby people and a lot of other folks that are intertwined in this market. So let me know what you think. If there's other questions maybe you would have liked to have seen asked, or other types of actually, let's also say, I want to ask you this. Are there other kind of interview type, because now I don't typically do interviews, so with other content creators or anyone else really on the channel. So are there other people you would like to see this channel talking to, as far as me talking to other content creators, or anything like that, or anyone just involved in the hobby? I can try to work that into what I do here. It hasn't been really my forte, but I'd like to learn, and after doing the one today, I felt pretty comfortable. I will tell you, I will tease this. So I am going to be on Saturday with the Hobby Box. The Hobby Box, I believe we're set up for Saturday afternoon. We don't have it nailed down all the stuff yet, but we're working on it. So I'm excited about that. That's Boris. Love Boris. He puts out some really awesome content. He's got some good stuff. I really like his insights, and he's just a funny overall guy. So I'm going to sit down with Boris, and we're going to do that on Saturday, it looks like. And I would like to do more, more of those types of things, because we always talk about community in this, in sports cards, and it is a fun community. There's a bunch of content creators that I correspond with, and that I like watching their stuff. We're fortunate that we've got kind of this cool. I got into this making content because there just wasn't enough content. It's very similar. Well, I shouldn't say there wasn't enough. I wanted to consume it all the time. So for me, just having Sports Card Investor, just having PSA Collector and Matt, and a handful of channels, it just wasn't enough. So it's part of the reason why I got into it. And a lot of other people is just I try to make content that I would also like to watch. And it's awesome to see all the other groups, because literally I don't watch the news. I don't have sports to watch. So most of the time I'm just watching hobby content stuff. So it's fun. But hey guys, thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for checking me out on Gary V's show this morning. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We've got 165 plus videos. We just keep on cooking, guys. Me and Luca back here. Me and Luca are just cooking. I do have another one that I'm working on. And I will say this. So Harry Katz, if you're watching this, you were right. It was going to be the 86 Fleer Michael Jordan picture. Was going to be the next one that my mother-in-law is working on. And then Jeff did his 1-year video on SCI, and I saw in his new studio that he's going to have that card. So I think it's kind of weird at this point for me to have kind of the same deal. I get that we could have the same thing, but I'm going to switch it up so that we can kind of keep this thing fresh. He can have his stuff, I can have my stuff, and it doesn't intertwine at all. So I'm going to pick another iconic card, but I want help from viewership. So if you do see this, we're now 14 minutes in, so hopefully you watched through. You probably already turned it off, but if you've watched all the way through, I would like, please, suggestions for that other picture. Ideally, I would like it to be a football or basketball card. There's some baseball cards I think would be awesome, but my passion is more focused around football and basketball cards. I dabble in baseball. But there's some really cool baseball cards. But anyway, if you could please suggest either basketball or football iconic cards, I want to take them all into account, and we will go from there. But hey, guys, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I know I kind of rambled on a little bit, but you know what? That's life. So I will talk to you guys soon, and I hope you have a good night. Take care.